through some of the news of the world. Um, yeah, it's some interesting shit going on. So, how are you? I know you're like in Massachusetts now. So, how was Massachusetts? How did you end up in Massachusetts? Why did you end up in Massachusetts? It's the highest tax place in the universe, at least in the United States. I mean, I would consider the United States still part of the universe, at least as far as we understand it. But Massachusetts, it's dope. It's a very, very dope place, but it's just so expensive. My gosh, it is unnaturally expensive, I think. But it is beautiful, it is gorgeous. Man. So, did you know that you have like Bigfoot up there? Like, there are different Bigfoots. I mean, like, you got the Wacket or some shit like that, but yeah, you've got all kinds of crazy stuff out there. Anyway, yeah. So one of the things that has been coming up on my radar, this came across Yahoo News a couple days ago, and I don't think I still have the article up, but it was about a little article, a little segment of. Sorry about that. So, the article itself was about a little segment of the current Defense Authorization Act, which allows for a new set of research into extraterrestrial phenomena. We're learning a lot more about what our enemies have versus what we don't have. For example, you have the hypersonic planes that China and Russia have. So they have these, right? And from what we are told is we don't have that technology that works. Like, we have it, we're working on it, but we don't have it where it works. And they do. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that in reality, we're probably a couple of years ahead of them. And why would we tell people who are stealing our technology what we have or what we don't have? I don't get that part. So, anyway, so the Defense Authorization Act is allowing for better research. One of the things that I've been saying for a little while, and one of my, I don't want to say it was confirmed by one of my guests, because he could be just as batshit as I am, but the idea of the fake alien invasion. Now, why is it a fake alien invasion? Because they've always been here, and we know they've always been here, and they've always been participating in what's going on. There's that. Whether you agree with that or not, I don't know. Whether or not I agree with it, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with anything one day to the next, man. Like, I think that we live in a world where science and truth and history are absolutely subjective. If you told me 10 years ago that female swimmers from like Penn State and Yale would be battling it out in swim meets, I wouldn't care. But if you told me that the women swimmers that were the fastest by like a mile were genetically dudes, or were born men and were allowed to compete against women, I'd say not in the NCAA. That seems like that would be a bridge too far. However, what we are seeing, and it's becoming a real reality, is that a young woman who looks a lot like Kyle Rittenhouse is a swimmer at Yale, and she just beat a woman who looks like she used to be a really jacked dude in a swim meet. But that is the conversation that is happening at the NCAA level. Now, eventually, things are we're gonna figure things out. Like, this can't be the thing forever. Like, it can't be the continuing issue. But it's the issue right now. But that's our 10-year challenge. Is like, what what social norms are we going to realize aren't really social norms at all? They're just things that exist and we exist in it. Does it matter to me? No, not really. I'm not a woman in college, and my daughter won't be a young lady in college for another 10 years, so I assume that within the next 10 years they're going to have this figured out. So right now, it doesn't necessarily apply to me, but it's certainly worth looking at, and it's certainly worth watching at and keeping stock, especially if you have kids or you plan on having kids. Um, so I that's the 10-year challenge: is what is going to go, um, what is going to be major, what's going to be a big deal, and what isn't um, going to be part of the future. So, according to Business Insider, Mark Zuckerberg is creating a future that looks like a worse version of the world we already have. So, the metaverse. The metaverse is an interesting topic. It's an interesting conversation. Um, and uh, that's a really weird thing because it looks, and I've never been to Hawaii, but it looks like in his video for the metaverse, it looks a lot like that is his like actual Hawaiian estate. The crazy thing is they're giving us a fake place to hang out. Meanwhile, they're buying up hundreds of acres of land in Hawaii. The idea is to sell you a fake place that's still very, very expensive, and it's going to cost a lot to hang out there. So check it out. Um, Snoop's property in a metaverse is worth over, like the area surrounding it has been sold for over $1 million actual dollars. So metaverse property is worth real money. One thing that is cool about that is when you see the videos, yeah, you can hang out in an imaginary room with your friends from around the world that you haven't seen in forever. That's great. Um, However, everyone is really just going to be their best representation of themselves rather than who they actually are. One of the questions that I have is, can you make your dick bigger in the metaverse? Is that a thing that you're allowed to do, or do you have to have the same dick size? Like, if you want to have a bigger dick, I feel like you should be able to have a bigger. Like, if you want to have an actual horse penis, if you can have a horse head in the metaverse, then you should be able to have a horse penis. And you should be able to do whatever you want. There should be no rules. There are no. If you want to hatchet somebody in the metaverse, you should be able to. If you kill a person's fake person, that should be okay. You know what? You get to maybe you get a ban for 3 days or 30 minutes, right? Because you shotgunned a room full of people in the metaverse. But it's the metaverse, right? None of it's real anyway. So why not just chainsaw people? But it's fake. We are selling real world property to or we're using real world money to buy fake property. That's crazy. It's a weird thing to me. Um, just a second. I love Cape Cod. Cape Cod is super congested, uh, especially during the summer, and that is because people have made the real world property there incredibly valuable. They are going to do the same thing in the fake universe, but the crazy thing about a fake universe is you can just build another fake universe. If you want to have an island surrounded by water, with no one near you and a McDonald's, that can be your metaverse, right? You got the ball pit. Woo! That's your metaverse. You want to bounce around in a ball pit for eternity? That's you. Have fun. And that's coming. But as you sell off space in a fake world, all that's going to happen is that the real world is just going to become more expensive and less livable. So, long term, I mean, who knows what happens with any of it? Does it matter? I don't know. I don't know. But we'll find out. Um, Weird. Sorry, just going through the news. Anything that you want to touch on? Real? Yeah. So it's already fake state. So fake property, right, in the metaverse is going to become very, very expensive. Real property will probably skyrocket because it's the one thing they're not making any more of. But the flip side of that is there's a lot of it. So if you can convince people to live in these communities where there's at least 50,000 people, then that opens up a lot of space for other people to live. It becomes a matter of convenience. People, I can tell you because I live in Alaska and people have wood fire stoves, that people don't necessarily want to spend their summer cutting down trees, preparing for the winter. Some folks do, and they love the shit out of Alaska. And I know folks that do. But your average American does not want to go into a forest with a chainsaw to cut down trees and haul it back into town. However, if you're willing to do it, you can charge people an arm and a leg. So, I have not seen Bigfoot. Two things, for real though. Like, I'm not kidding. I've got a Bigfoot costume in my garage right now. I'm serious. Um, and I've gone out to Port Chatham. So, like, when you see films and the Discovery Channel talking about Port Chatham, Alaska, Port Chatham Hairy Man, Port Locke, I've been there. Okay, I went out there this past summer with my friends, and we saw what's out there. And I can tell you that for the most part, it was a little bit of trash. Right, there was trash. The folks from the Discovery Channel obviously brought out heavy equipment. They brought out like small tractors. They cut down a lot of trees. Um, they built a sauna. Clearly, like the videos are on my YouTube channel, but it's all out there. Like they've gone out there. They've kind of made a mess of it. There's a lot of trash. Not a lot, but there's definitely trash out there. People leave their mark. But there's also, you can see that people have been going out there for a very long time. Okay, people have been going out there. That's been their little private hunting, fishing spot for fucking ever. And as it should be. You go out there, you're not going to see anybody, you're not going to hear anything. You'll go hours and hours, maybe without hearing or seeing an airplane. Now, when you see an airplane, they're normally flying over Dogfish Bay, which is where you'll actually have more sightings in Dogfish Bay than Bigfoot sightings in Dogfish Bay than you'll have in Port Chatham. There's more going on there. So this summer we might go to Dogfish. In the spring, we're planning on going up to the HARP station. Now, the HARP station is allegedly it's where they have a weather machine up there, and we'll go up and we'll go camping by the weather machine, see if they'll let us in, let us change the weather a little bit, maybe get some snow in Hawaii. Like, I feel like Hawaii, if they got blasted with a good 6 inches of snow out of nowhere, like, it would freak them out. But it wouldn't last long. Like, the weather would change relatively quickly. So, you got a blast of like 6 inches of snow and then nothing ever again. It's the freak blizzard of 2022 in Waikiki. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, so we're going out to the HARP station, and we're going to see what's going on out there. I think that there's a lot of mysteries. You can read about the Alaska Triangle. You can read about the Black Pyramids of Alaska. There's a lot of stuff going on in the interior of the state that no one is ever going to see. Like, the state is so big. and the vast majority of it is uninhabitable or uninhabited. You have entire communities that are off of the roadway system. I'm telling you, the next step out here is going to be moving to the village, because we've already got a drive-through Starbucks. We've got a Domino's. Not knocking Domino's, okay? I'm okay with Domino's. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Domino's the pizza from um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I don't know. I don't remember. I grew up in Germany, but when I had Domino's, it was fucking delightful. I'm okay with having a Domino's here. What I'm not okay with is that we have a lot of folks. I mean, it's a community that is definitely growing, and I don't like people generally. The more people come to a community, that I think the more that the ideals of the community begin to shift, especially when people talk about like the flight from California to Texas, right? A lot of folks are moving from California to Utah or to Texas or to any number of places that are not California, and the reason they are doing that is because land is much cheaper, property is much cheaper, but also you have these, gosh, I hate saying it like this, you have these ideologies that have led to a societal collapse, right? The San Francisco of Alfred Hitchcock movies, that doesn't exist, right? Like that place doesn't, that is a memory. Okay, that's not a real place anymore. The San Francisco that exists today is seemingly very, very different than that. So those populations are shifting to places like Texas. Now, what people from Texas, and this has been my experience, they don't like the people from California moving to Texas, and so they're moving back to Alaska, or they're moving to Alaska. And for me, like, on one hand, it's like, that's great. There's a reason these folks are leaving where they're from, and I'm not knocking them for it. If I lived in Illinois, I'd probably haul my ass up to Alaska as well. But in my community, as my community grows, I want to get further out. And there's something about the convenience of it, right? Like the daily conveniences of, like, oh, I don't have to go. I don't have to get everything at once. I can go to the grocery store later today and get paper plates or whatever it is. To be able to have to plot and plan and coordinate, like your once a month trip to the grocery store to get, you're going to get your coffee for the month, you're going to get your whatever for the month, and then come back into it. I think that living inside of a community, inside of communities with all of this, all of the comforts, right? Everything becomes very easy. You push a button and you can go to Starbucks, and the person at Starbucks pushes a button, and the coffee shits out. Nothing is real and matters anymore. So the world of convenience, I think, is crushing us, and it's making us as a society much weaker than we were. Everybody's opinions matter. Everybody's feelings matter. Cool, I get that. But everybody doesn't matter. There's like 6 billion of us, right? It's absolutely a veteran-friendly state. Per capita, we have more veterans than any other state in the union. Okay, I believe it's over 17%, and part of that is they're very they're very friendly. Whether it's like tax relief, property taxes, stuff like that, they are very, very courteous and very veteran-friendly in Alaska. The land was, the state was built by veterans, right? The veterans and children of veterans. This is a dope spot. Like, if you're okay with walking around in the cold, right? You could get anything you want done. Yeah, it's a cool place, and it's full of cool people with interesting stories. Like, this is one of the few places where, like, oh, you know somebody that survived a bear attack. That's cool. You just know people who've done different things or can do different things. People can do lots of different things. In the military and in civilian life, prior to the military. I didn't know a lot of people that could do a lot of things, but I know dudes that are, you know, they might not be certified plumbers, but they can build a house. You know, they might not have a degree, but they can build you a solid structure to live in and get you through the winter for a couple $100. I know some handy motherfuckers up here. And it all comes down to what are you willing, like, what are you willing to put into it? Anything you want can be done up here. My idea is in the next 2 years, I want to sell my house and I want to move farther out. I want to move my family further back, even closer to the water. Maybe we have a stream, something like that, something on the river, just so it makes it more convenient. If I just want to go, I don't have to go to the grocery store. I can just go fishing. So why not? So yeah, it's very much a very friendly, very veteran friendly state. Like, it's very cool place. Um, I have chickens, man. Let me just go for a walk. I'll show you what I mean. All right. So we had a windstorm and it knocked down some trees. So I'll show you what all's going on. By the way, that's one of my cars. It's about a foot of snow right there. I don't necessarily want to walk through it. I don't know if you can see the tree knocked down. But yeah, you can get a lot of space for a little. Okay, so it's one of my chicken coops. It's the other chicken coop. It's pretty awesome. We have chickens. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know where else you can really do that in the States, inside of a city, inside of any kind of community. And I'm sure lots of communities have different rules and regulations for farming and for that sort of thing. But that's one of the really cool things about Alaska is if you don't have it, you can just make it. Motherfucker's gonna kill me. Look at that thing. Look at it. That's part T-Rex. I don't care. I don't believe you. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes you. You don't have any friends. And I've got eggs. I've got eggs. So then we've got the other chicken coop over here. But it's a means to provide food for my family, and the other cool thing is you can just barter. You know, like I trade you some eggs for some whatever. Maybe you got some milk. All right, so those are bantams, which they're just little eggs or little chickens, little guys. I don't even know his name, but yeah, more chickens. You're cool too. But yeah, Alaska's dope as shit. Alaska's an awesome place. It's very pro-veteran. There's a lot to do. You just have to want to get out of the house. Like, today is a good day to get out of the house. It's not too cold to go snow machining or whatever. Whatever it is that you like to do outside. This is a place you can do that. During the summer, it's extra dope. You can go out, you can go snow, or you can go side by siding, or four wheeling, or whatever. But it's a dope spot. I enjoy it. I don't know that I necessarily would want to live anywhere else, especially after living elsewhere. But as a place to like this is my spot. There's some turntables under there. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's Alaska as a place to live, a place to raise a family. It's not a bad place. Like, it's not a bad place to vacation. It's not a bad place to hang out. It is a good place to get things done. It's a good place to live. So I hope that answered your question. Any other Alaska questions? By the way, the hoodie is available at WaldenBrothers.store. That's the official Woken Bake hoodie. This is the sale of these hoodies go to pay for like stuff like going to on the HARP trip and the videos that are on the YouTube channel now. I'll post some of the YouTube videos in my reels a little bit later today. But we did Port Chatham. Port Chatham is fucking dope. It's a cool place. But I wouldn't recommend you going there. It's like any other place that's kind of sacred and beautiful. You know, in 200 years, there's probably going to be a McDonald's there. And that's going to be a sad thing. But I got to go there before there was. And that was pretty fucking awesome. The other thing that I experienced while I was in Port Chatham, you know, like expecting to get killed. That's the thing. If you go to like on a Bigfoot hunt and the expectation is that you are going to die, okay? And you tell yourself before you go on this expedition, right? You tell yourself, I am going to die. I'm not going to make it home from this. Bigfoot is going to kill me in the best case scenario. What will actually happen, right, is you're going to have a great time with your friends. Your friends are going to be like, hey, this is good. We didn't die. In fact, we had a good time. We went fishing. My buddies, they caught halibut. I've got halibut from a Bigfoot trip in my freezer. There you go. Now, the theory on that, part of the theory on that is that Bigfoot can transmutate. All right, so Bigfoot can become different things. Bigfoot isn't always going to be in, you know, like big angry Wookiee, right? He can be a halibut. He can be a fish swimming next to the boat to try and, you know, get a better eye on us. Now, while we were there, I noticed that there were some otters that were always swimming by the boat. I got video of them too, right? And I think maybe Bigfoot became an otter so that he could watch us and he could see us and could see that we didn't have any bad energy. We were staying on the boat. When we went to land, we weren't leaving our trash. We were having a good time. We were grown men playing, right? We weren't there to like hunt for the killer in the woods. No, we were grown men enjoying each other's company. Some were drinking. I myself was not, because I was smoking a lot of pot, to be fair, and eating it. I ate a lot of weed on that trip. Because it's not a thing you want to do sober. You don't want to hunt Bigfoot, like, not a little bit fucked up. Because you have to accept, A, that you're going to die, and B, you've got to accept that you're looking for an 8-foot thing in the woods that doesn't want to be found. That's it. All right? And you'll have a good time. Anyway, so the otters, which that I believe may have been Bigfoot, would swim next to us to get a view of us. And I do think there's a real possibility that, because there were 2 halibut that were caught, right? One in Port Chatham, like in the actual bay. And I think that what happened was the halibut was itself Bigfoot, and perhaps getting close to us so that, you know, you could see what we were doing. Maybe we're getting ready to leave. Maybe we're just chilling. And he was so taken back by my buddy's lure, because he'd never seen that kind of lure before, because he's Bigfoot, and B, he doesn't come down as a halibut very often. So he was just taken back by my buddy's lure. He ate the lure, and Bigfoot ended up in a cooler in my buddy's freezer. So anyway, we go over to Dogfish Bay, and I believe Bigfoot's lady friend decided that she was going to make the jump into, I don't want to say it was suicide, but what else could it be? Like, she knew that lure, she knew that boat, she tracked us down in Dogfish Bay, which is right on the other side of the, not quite a fjord, a peak, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but there's a lot of bays on the peninsula, but Port Chatham is right on the other side of the land, right? So I think, and that's where Bigfoot's babe ended up in our freezer. So I've got some Bigfoot halibut in my freezer. Pretty excited about that. I don't know when I'm gonna cook it or what I'm gonna do with it, but I feel like it's something, you need to pay proper attention to, and you need to do it right because it's Bigfoot, right? You're gonna have the powers of Bigfoot in you. Now there are other not quite cryptos, but like we've made some X-Men animals here in Alaska. One of them is the nuclear sea otter, and that's an interesting one. Oh, I'll let you know. I mean, halibut itself is pretty good. I'm not a big fish guy, but the fact that like a halibut in Texas at Central Market will run you 30 or 40 pounds, 30 or 40 bucks a pound, and I've got Bigfoot in my freezer. That's pretty cool. So nuclear sea otters of Southeast Alaska. So after generations and generations of hunting sea otters in Southeast Alaska, the sea otter was extinct. And one of the things that happened, one of the consequences of that animal going extinct, was that um, the food pyramid, right, like the biosphere, was kind of taken out of order because the sea otters did a job, right? They had an occupation. They were busy doing things while they were outside. While they had shit they ate, and now the shit that they ate became overgrown. Da 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 da. There's an imbalance. Marine biologists, um, the smartest people in the room on the subject, said, okay, we're gonna get some Northern California sea otters, which I imagine are probably like Matthew McConaughey sea otters. They're like, hey guys, how are you? They got them because they're supposed to be chill and relaxed, and they were just supposed to be sea otters. What happened is they got sea otters from from the Kodiak Islands. Now the Kodiak Islands, I'm sorry, not the Kodiak, the Aleutian Islands. Now the Aleutian Islands are like when you see that like chain of islands that comes off of Alaska that seems to go on forever. That's the Aleutians, right? That shit goes on forever. Like I said, big fucking state. Um, they actually got sea otters from the Aleutians. Now, they did nuclear testing out on the Aleutians, so these are nuclear sea otters. Now, if you are not a native, you cannot hunt these sea otters, right? You can't. My understanding is, though, if you are, you can. So I'm trying to talk to one of my native buddies and see if we can go like hunt some nuclear sea otter because like that meat would be. I don't know that it would be delicious, but I feel like you could eat it and you'd be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like you might actually get better. Maybe either A, you get cancer, or B, you get jacked. Yeah. Um, yeah. Beloved dog who helped raise cheetah cubs. I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got. Anything you want to know about? Anything you want to talk about? Any weird shit you want to talk about? I'll let you know how it tastes. Anything though. Anything you want to talk about? Um, love to hear. Oh shit! Yeah. So the Brazil cliff collapse. It's. I didn't think that was real when I first saw it. I When I watched that happen, I thought I was watching something fake, and it was very like uncomfortable that it was shared the way that it was, if that makes sense. Like, I know at least 20 people that shared that video. And I'm sure they know at least 20 people that shared that video. But what we watched in that video was a gigantic rock killing people in a beautiful place. That is a place that any of us would love to be. Like staring up at these beautiful rocks in a Brazilian rainforest. You're a tourist. This is you've saved for this your entire life. And that's where you are. You know what sucks though, right? Like in a grand, like there is somebody that had their camera out and they got that great shot. That was a great shot of the rock falling on them. We'll never get that footage. So that kind of sucks. But like the world got to watch a cliff fall on people and kill them and just share it with everyone they knew. Say some prayers. Say some prayers for so and so. Like you're sharing this thing. Like I don't know that they need any more prayers. Like that was a wall of rock that fell on their heads. They don't need prayers. They need something else. But you don't expect that to happen when you're on vacation. So up here, Alaska story. Last year when people were not last year, year before 2020, right? The world was shut down. People were scared to go anywhere. A family from, I believe they were from South Carolina, decided to take their gigantic Alaska vacation. While they were up here, they got a sweet deal on a flight over the Kenai Peninsula to, I'm sure, see all kinds of beautiful stuff. They took off on their flight and they collided with a plane that was being flown by a state representative by the name of Gary Knupp. Gary Knupp was flying. He should not have been flying. He was deemed unable to fly because of cataracts more than 10 years before this. And 10 people, or not 10, like 4 people are dead, right, including a local pilot, because of an elected official, a state representative, who had been flying for 10 years without a pilot. Or without a pilot's license. It's just fucked up, man. You don't expect that to happen, right? You spend a lot of energy, you spend a lot of time, hoping to get there. And you get there, and that's how it ends. That sucks. That's fucking terrible. I feel very sad. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. But that's what exists, man. Yeah, there you go. I don't know, man. All that energy, all of that energy. I mean, you have some of these very same realizations. I don't know if you've ever taken an edible and gotten on a plane, but if you take an edible and get on a plane, it's very much the same thing. Like you come to the realization, okay, I'm going to die. All of these other people are going to die on this plane, and wherever we are at, it is because we deserve it. This is our earned break. I was positive, like on one of my last flights down to Texas, I was positive I was going to die. And I had made peace with myself getting onto the flight. But I also like to, personally, try to spend at least a little time every day thinking about the fact that I might be dead later on today, and that everything we have is finite, and everything that we are is finite, and everything we leave behind is just stuff we leave behind. And in the end, even our legacies turn to dust. In the end, history forgets us all. As great as Massa Musa or Alexander the Great may have been, eventually we're not going to be here, and any evidence of what they had is going to be gone as well. So, on one hand, what is the point of trying to be a great man? On the other hand, being a weak man, being a weak human being, allows weakness to further exist and postulate. Anyway, there you go. Yeah. Got deep, got dark, got ugly. Yeah, there you go. If there's anything you want to hit on, let me know. I don't understand what transfer portals are in college football. It used to be the disgruntled players who thought they deserved more playing time or didn't like the coach they were the ones entering the transfer portal. It was designed to make less of a mess of the transfer situation, as well as help players who wanted to see greener pastures. But just like cattle grazing, too many means overgrazing, overgrazing, and they eating up the available grasses till the only thing left is dirt. Well, that sucks. Sucks for them. Yeah. I'm out. All right, brother. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your time in Massachusetts. Are you in Massachusetts right now, or are you in New York? Enjoy the East Coast. Enjoy that part of the East Coast.